actual channel and not an NGS main, and fingers crossed no one was casting Storm Div when that happened, because I don't know how stream handles that.
It would have kicked you off. It was A-okay.
Oh,
It's
thank
not on the
goodness.
NGS main channel, thankfully.
Yeah, so I streamed the Mead Hall for the start of the season, and never re-updated my stream key. So, for anyone wondering how we abruptly got into this draft, real quick, the coin toss was won by Big Push Power. They chose first pick. Degen.M banned out Braxis and Cursed. Big Push Power banned out D-Shire and 2, and we find ourselves on Towers for map number 1. These are the picks and bans. You've missed a little bit of banter, and double global on the side of Big Push Power. Love to see it. Especially because Dahaka is global and also just a competent double soaker, so you're really not losing anything for picking up that global power.
Yeah, very true. You know, Tychus and Hogger, good picks in general. Sylvanas, Daka, Brightwing, both are all fairly generic, so again, no real indication of any specialty drafts going on, as the second and third tanks were banned out in the Anubrak and the Dahaka.
Yeah, with Big Push Power having that, not having to ban Johanna and Rhaegar, they're able to ban out either target heroes, which I suspect the Junkrat probably is, or annoying heroes, which the Stukov most definitely is, even though he doesn't have a killer win rate. People just hate getting silenced for some reason, so people just banning Stukov anyway.
Hey, can confirm on your channel. We're doing good.
Fantastic. That would definitely have been the type of thing that I should have looked into ahead of time, but I feel awkward doing an 8-second test stream, so I didn't do it.
Huh. Fair enough.
Blaze is also a competent double soaker, but more likely going to be the main tank in this situation. And H2O pick up the presumed main tank Varian, so really good single target potential coming out from Big Push Power. Although there's not really an incredibly great target on the side of Degen.M that they're going to want to engage on.
Yeah, not yet at least. Tychus, because he can't get the armor for the Variant taunt because it's on roots and stuns, could be good. Yonner's going to force the Tracer into a Brightwing and a Varian. Yonner's... okay.
That's a confident pick.
Yonner's is genuinely like a top 5 Tracer in NA. And I'm going to be like, Yonners, you sure? Are you really sure about this one? I know you've played into these heroes before, but, like, we will see. I think it's really going to come down to that Tracer play, whether they get good taunts, good polymorphs, or whatnot. Or if Yonners is going to be able to run free.
Ace, would you mind setting up the prediction for me? I have the...
Yeah, I had it set up in the
old
NGS
prediction.
channel. Yeah, I can. Let's try again.
Yeah, it is currently too compressed on my OBS to have it set up nicely.
All good.
Alright, for the first time tonight, spawning on the left-hand side in the blue trunks, they are Degen.M with Automatic Z playing the Tychus, Envy playing the Anduin. I just fizzed on Hogger, Heck Boozled on the Blaze, and Yonner's on his signature Tracer.
And on the right side of the map, in the orange trunks, you're on colorblind, right?
I am.
All right, in the orange trunks, we do have Big Push Power with Frage Stellar playing Sylvanas, Sovereign playing Brightwing, Minikin on Hanzo, H2O on Varian, and C2D2 on Dahaka.
You know, I used to be on colorblind mode, but for some reason I've gone back to RGB for the overlays, so I'll have to set that up for the next cast. I didn't actually set up Season 13 stuff, I just used the existing logos that I had. And we have a very immediate pause coming in at the -2 second mark.
Now, the question is, do they count us in or not at the -2 second mark?
I would expect a decent chance that they do, even though it's probably unnecessary since the game hasn't actually started yet. And we do get the count in.
3, 2, 1, go, then 2, 1, go.
Alright, as we are wont to do, we're going to check those level 1 talents. We do have the race card build coming out from Dahaka. Scatter coming out from the Hanzo, not a huge surprise there. And I think on the whole, pretty standard looking talents coming out.
Yeah, I think the only interesting one that I don't see often is the parting gift rather than the 1-2 punch on the Tracer. It does add some burst though, and that's always a good thing. C2D2, meanwhile, is taking a whole bunch of burst and is taken out the 26-second mark. First blood over to Degen.M.
Yeah, common wisdom says that the team with Varian is weaker in the early phase of the game, but that was real quick.
Yeah, there was a lot of damage put out very, very quickly. High damage heroes, though. Blaze can put out some pretty solid damage. Augur, surprisingly effective. Of course, Tychus can weaken even the most bulky of heroes up with that minigun trait.
Yeah, he sure can. And the members of Degen.M are really using that very early advantage they have to snowball very quick. Miniken is going to have to use the Shimada privilege to jump on another. H2O is quite low. Is going to get not saved by Sovereign as the grenades knocked Brightwing out, and that is going to be a second kill coming in at just over the 1 minute mark, and almost certainly an invade.
Yeah, that's another good pickup there for Degen.M, now up half a level, and as you said, invading the camp, so good one here. So yeah, nice start if you're here for Degen.M.
Alonso doing what he can just to try and get some stacks. Actually currently at 0 stacks, so really would like to get a couple more of those going. I'm quite surprised actually 0 stacks given how much esports has already been happening. Huge jet propulsion coming out. Janus is going to find a little bit of damage, but finds a lot more damage to his own face, and unfortunately Miniken missing the scatter. Janus is going to get away unpunished.
Scatter build is very hard to play. Those angles, especially that near straight angle along that house, is a very difficult shot to make. So really a skill testing build here that we will see up here in this heroic division.
And because it is one of the most important maps for it in the game, we're going to check out the offlane for just a sec. I just fizzed actually opting not to go into the double soak and instead going to use the Hog Wild to take this mercenary camp. Looks like he has not quite the right angle, so he is going to get bounced out of that. C2D2 is going to try and fight him a little bit. He's watching Mini. Brightwing is going to come up with the invade. Janus is here as well, so it is a 2 versus 2, but Varian is about to make it into a 3 versus 2, and that is going to be the first kill going against Degen.M, and that is going to be a successful camp steal, kind of, coming out for Big Push Power.
Yep, down in the bottom lane here, we have Heckboozled, Z, and Envy all running in to the bottom lane, escorting those sappers in and knocking out the remainder of that top tower with the frag grenade. Master Assassin out here for Tychus here at level 4, which I think is a little fun talent to take every once in a while.
I mean, it's so many dings. How could you not want to take that? Envy going to get the really quick channel here on bot lane. Yonder is chasing C2D2 out. Brightwing is going to get the channel for Big Push Power and then Z onto the bot lane. So it looks like Big Push Power have already agreed that they really don't want to put any more pressure onto this and just want to get value in the bottom lane.
Yep, and that is indeed was occurring. Second set of 4 shots headed over. So Degen.M takes a small lead here early on after our first altar phases. Both teams either at or approaching that level 7 talent tier, and with the kill up onto the Hogger in the top lane, XP is really evened out a lot more.
Yep, and both teams really just kind of sharking, trying to find something to make something happen. Camp is coming up in about 10 seconds on the side of Big Push Power. Looks like the members of Degen.M are maybe positioned to try and make something happen there. Taunt coming out onto Heckboozled. He actually turns it around and gets this done onto H2O, but really just inconsequential poke damage going into either side, just kind of some numbers padding, not finding anything of value.
Such are the tank healer fights. A bunch of abilities used and absolutely nothing found for it. Envy's playing a little bit of an awkward spot. Taunt is available. H2O can go ahead and not take it. Yonner's actually almost dealt a lethal blow to Miniken, but he is going to be able to tap up and walk out, participate in this little bit of scuffle.
And a little bit of scuffle there is, as Taunt is still on cooldown for another 5 seconds or so, so really not able to make anything happen. Jet Propulsion just comes up. They're going to find damage onto H2O. He's going to get a lot of that deflected, but is still going to go down, and the Root Router coming into Brightwing is going to make that 2-0 in favor of Degen.M right as this objective is spawning in 20 seconds.
Oh, that was a full scatter to complete that quest directly into Automatic Z's muscular back there.
I would wager probably the most muscular back in all of Heroes in Storm.
That's very possible, at least by visible standards. You don't know. Tyrael could be jacked. I mean, you see how he wields that sword like it's a pool noodle.
I've seen his profile, though. He doesn't have the physique to have that much musculature.
Ooh, Heck
big
Boozled
miss
missed.
on the Heck Boozled jump propulsions. Taunt coming in the back onto Envy, and Miniken finds the auto attack kill into Heck Boozled. Yonners is in kind of deep, but there isn't yet a punish, but they're gonna find one sooner or later. There it is.
Yep, there it is indeed. Parting Gift didn't confirm out the kill onto the Sylvanas, so that was a commitment from the Tracer, and when it did not work out, that was the end of her life.
I think that was an unstable anomaly kill because Brightwing got the final blow.
That would be very funny. I can go confirm that.
Ooh, we should do that. Automatic Z does
Basic
get a little
attack.
bit of damage from H2O. Taunt is down, so not really much that they can do to actually lock down Automatic Z until C2D2 walks in here. Level 10's getting picked up for both sides. The Hanzo arrow narrowly missing. Heck Boozled actually getting a really big combustion is going to find a lot of damage and a double kill onto the Brightwing and the Hanzo. Dahaka's going to go down next, and that is 3-0 in favor of Degen.M.
That was an incredible stun combo there from I Just Fizzed. Got the two-person knock into the wall, the combustion went off, and then the shockwave came through to lock them down even longer. Huge amount of damage, allowing that combo to go through. And now Degen.M going to be able to push down, or at least do a lot of damage here in this bottom tower.
Heck Boozled taking quite a bit of damage as they got locked down by that taunt with that minus 20 armor. Yana's in a bit of a rough spot, but there is no hard lockdown to keep him in place, so he's just going to dance around and build up that ult cooldown. Heck Boozled is going to have to jet propulsion to safety. H2O looking for something. The taunt comes up right now, but isn't able to find anything of substantial value.
One thing I'm noting is that Yanners is able to dive this backline rather effectively, because Varian has to choose either between engaging with taunt or peeling with taunt, and can only pick one at a time. So once Varian engages with taunt, Yanners knows to just dive the backline basically unperturbed. I say this now, is getting ganked in the mid lane, the polymorph comes through, but it is not enough as Yanners is going to escape.
Yeah, Yanners reacting just a little bit late, taking about half his health par, but not quite enough damage, and the Wailing Arrow was just a few seconds off from being able to really secure that kill. Looks like teams are planning to just go 1-for-1 on objectives here, as the Hogger gets taken out in the top lane, and Miniken not able to find the Sonic Arrow interrupt in time.
C2D2 is going to go ahead, burrow down to fight Automatic Z, who's pushing down the bot lane the whole time, but Dodge Tongue is going to signal the end of that. But that does mean Dig is down for the next little bit, so a little bit of rotational capabilities of Dahaka are down for just a short while.
Heck Boozled using the very short-range movement jet propulsion just to get himself a little safer before getting the full mana Hearth, as both teams understand that there's not a lot that they're going to be able to do for the immediate moment. Oops. Automatic Z getting engaged on by H2O. I missed that a little bit, but not going to find anything of substantial value there either, as the camp is now up for the side of Degen.M, and Big Push Power having already secured theirs.
Yeah. 13's here, not quite here for Big Push Power, just a couple of pixels off. But it is going to force them back until they choose to pick it up. Fizzed is actually here to try and make something happen, but no window is given by Big Push Power. So they are just going to go ahead and soak up 213, grab those, and then see what they can do. As Sylvanas actually opts into Remorseless, not the Armor Cut, which I kind of expected with a single target blow combo.
Dahaka did dig in. He's got the tongue onto Automatic Z, who's able to start walking away, but is getting focused by H2O, but not a lot of actual damage is going to go in there. Yanners tearing up Miniken in the background, but so far no one going down. H2O is low, Yanners is low, Envy is low, and it looks like H2O is going to be the first one to go down. Fragstella very low, but Brightwing is going to be the second to fall. Fizz finds the kill onto Hanzo, and Fragstella barely makes it out of there. It looked like it was going to go very well for Big Push Powers. Dahaka came in much earlier than Hogger, but they just were not quite on the same page with getting that damage out, and weren't yet able to translate any of that damage into kills.
Yeah, a lot of that tongue brought Tychus in, like, to the middle of the fight, but couldn't just abduct him into the team line, so he was able to make a little quick dash out of town and escape, and that forced a bit of overcommitment to Big Push Power trying to get that kill, and that fight was so close that Li Ming was, if she was in this game, she was just waiting for the first kill.
So all of you Storm League big damage numbers, I want to point out here, Big Push Power have the highest damage hero in the game with that Hanzo with the 33k. Thank you for the follow, Leo Rice. But the members of Degen.M have been getting more kills because their damage has been better focused. So even though they have lower damage total, putting it all into the same place means that it translates into kills better. So big numbers are nice, but actually securing kills is a lot nicer.
Big if true. Speaking of confirming kills, we do have a kill up in the top lane.
Definitely missed that one. I did not.
Yeah, same here.
You rarely see the 1v1 just off lane kill, especially on this map. Big engage coming up from Heckboozled. It's just gonna get turned around by H2O. Heckboozled taking more than half his health for missing a jet propulsion. That is such a feast or famine ability, though.
Yep. Heckboozled gonna take it again, but Taunt is just barely coming up in time. This time he is dead, but Minikin, wow, very close, and is dead due to the Odin. Sovereign gonna go ahead and be targeted, lives with just under 40 health, does score a Sapper in, dropping the 2N, so now Big Push Power down to just 10 health, and that's very important.
Threatening lethal with right now, two channels. With all of these up, I don't think that Big Push Power will let these stay up. Bragstella is focusing it down, so that is not going to be possible unless they get a 3 cap, which Dahaka should not allow.
No, it definitely seems like they are just playing for a little bit longer. Sovereign going to go ahead and interrupt the honors on the point, and that's actually forcing Degen.M away just a little bit. But yeah, so far Degen.M really looking strong here and capable of putting a lot of pressure on with this core health advantages. Dahaka burrows down, gobbles up the bottom altar, and turns the score to 24-6.
Yeah, I really liked Degen.M's willingness to give up that objective. They could have fought for it after Dahaka dug down, and it would have been even, but they've been winning the whole game. They're up by 18 core shots. They really don't need to force anything. They just got to keep playing the game that they've been playing already. Yanners is going to get engaged upon and killed to death. Too much CC for him to get a recall out of there. But as great as that is, and as much as comeback mechanics are a big part of this game, he'll be back for the next objective, and there's still a full level lead in favor of Degen.M, so it was a good play, but Big Push Power need more.
Well, they might find more. Sylph Trait is available in the bottom lane here, and she can rip it on this bottom bell tower keep, so could create some kind of positional advantages. The next altar is a single one in the bottom lane, so controlling the opponent's bell tower is very, very critical.
It is, and God, the slow on overkill is so powerful against backline heroes. You saw coming up from big CC combo is actually going to interrupt me entirely, as Anduin is just going to get 100-0'd by the combination of Bragstella and Miniken there, and that is going to allow them to really put the hurt onto this bottom keep.
Yeah, there's very little that Automatic Z and Heckboozled can do here. There is no Sylph Trait.
There definitely is.
There definitely is. It just came back up. I was kind of counting out, not looking. There definitely is a Sylph Trait available to make this happen early. Yeah. And now, just in time, taken as the altar spawns in just a second.
And because that is guaranteed, I'm going to watch the top lane as I just fizzed and Yana's trying to make an engagement onto C2D2. They're going to get this channel, or the keep before Sovereign is able to get the channel, so actually cutting off the number of shots that they take by one, even if they're not going to find the kill that they were really looking for.
Found the kill they're looking for on that bell tower specifically. I think that's exactly what they're looking for. Now comes an engagement onto the... Ooh, good jet propulsion actually prevented Varian from getting any kind of engagement. So Heckboozled and Z will go ahead and walk out relatively unscathed.
20 is getting picked up here for Degen.M, but they're really kind of in a hard press to make something incredible happen with it, unless they can use their 5 versus 4 advantage as well. With Aegis Fizz coming in here, Yanners has not shown he's not really in a spot to do anything without a couple of blinks in, but there we go. Looking to use that 5 versus 4 and level 20 to get this bottom keep back, but they're taking the engagement very slow, and I think a slow engagement still benefits them.
Yep, they do have enough poke to make this at least viable for near time, and there's not really any immediate time pressure as Automatic Z drops a big red button, and that's definitely going to clear this out in time. Arrow does hit Heck Boozled, but isn't going to be too much. The Dock and Drag's actually very big, and the silence from it's even bigger, but the lens from the Leap of Faith from Anduin lets him drop the combustion. Lots of members low as a big red button lands on 2. Now, no control going in and hitting H2O and Fragstellar. Fragstellar is going to wave over the wall and get out. Nuke lands on Varian, ending his whole career. They haven't even been invented yet in Warcraft. And that makes 4 kills for Degen.M breaking out. And they're going to go ahead, push down this bottom tower, and that's going to be the end of this game, Iktar.
It sure is. There's really nothing that Big Push Power can do about it at this point. And, actually if they're able to take this back, that is the one thing that they can do to not lose the game immediately. They probably still lose the game on the subsequent boss, and Aegisthus might not even allow Fragstella to turn this over in time.
Ooh, barely in time.
They did not make the unintuitive mistake of picking this up too early. You can see that, whatever, it doesn't matter. It is possible to pick it up after you have captured it, but before it attributes a shot to you, which is strange.
Yeah, the little
that can happen.
The bell tower actually has to show up out of the ground. I watched the animation for it. It has to show up and then it'll fire. But there's like a 2-second window where it'll just remain neutral and it won't fire a shot for either team.
Yeah, the little triangle right by the actual channel point will show up as yellow during that period.
Yeah. Very, very small piece of tech information there, but rather important to know.
I have seen it come into play in games before. I have never seen it decide a game, I don't think, but it has definitely come into play where a team channels too early.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very unintuitive and just kind of weird.
So, if I'm Big Push Power, I'm a little bit afraid of what just happened, because they picked 2 of what are generally considered the best counters to Tracer against Tracer, and Tracer kind of danced all over them most of the game.
Yeah, well, they have the most powerful anti-Tracer tool, the ban button.
That is true. Do you think that it ends up coming out here?
I would. Yonner's, again, is like a top 5 Tracer in NA. I would not mess with Yonner's Tracer.
I'm pretty sure history shows that we do not mess with Yonner's Tracer, as I believe we played against him in Nexomania.
That is very, very true. Like, the Varian had a tough time with it because he either had to use Taunt as an engagement tool or as a peeling tool. And so as soon as he went for the engage, he couldn't peel with it, and Yonner's dove in. So if they had a second source of anti-tracer, they could theoretically do it. But, or had better poke, so that way they could win the poke war and force Yonner's to engage, rather than kind of just take more damage. So, yeah, it's a tough position to be in when going up against players of exceptional skill in a specific hero, which is rather common up here in these upper divisions.
It turns out right at the end of that draft, I had gotten a DM letting me know that my stream was down, but I definitely didn't see it until you mentioned it.
Fair enough. We got it taken care of.
Alright, so I have confirmation that Big Push Power are taking map pick for game number 2. Any guesses as to what map they're taking?
Aw, they're taking map pick in this meta? The Looney Tunes map, because that's how I feel about that. No,
what is that, Alterac?
Sky Temple.
I can kind of see where you're coming from on that guess, but it is actually the most standardist of maps, Infernal Shrines.
To be fair, Degen.M does not like that map for some reason. So, reasons.
Oh, speaking of people who don't like standard maps, you mentioned Majesty. I don't understand exactly why, because he's not on either of these teams.
Is he not?
Not that I saw when I looked.
I'm crazy. tried to preview these rosters. I thought it said Manistu's on here, but maybe I clicked Gen.M and not Degen.M. Always very possible.
I can see that Sovereign is in a lobby, but we are not friends on Heroes of the Storm, so I can't just join the lobby. And now we play the waiting game. There we go. Yonners has invited me to a lobby.
And I can join you because we're friends.
I'm not friends with Yonners. I'm a little bit surprised about that.
That would imply caster bias. That would be ridiculous. Now you have to friend somebody on their team on Big Push Power as well.
Okay, I choose Miniken because I remember his name from in-houses.
Yeah.
More than the other names that I also recognize from in-houses.
Yep.
Names I recognize from in-houses, I believe. Yonners, Heckboozled, Just Fizz, Automatic Z. I don't necessarily remember Envy or Sovereign, but I remember C2D2, Frag Stellar, and Miniken.
Miniken actually on a little bit of a role swap, if that's what they're opting for, is that's a big old tank profile and a lot of DPS being played recently. So maybe trying a couple new things out here. Or, it's just a one-time thing.
Maybe it's just for the individual heroes that they had selected in that game. Maybe it is just a rule change.
Yeah. Waiting for the 10th to join.
I know my favorite former semi-pro player underwent an off-lane to healer role swap.
That would be Valimar, correct?
It would. Good recalling.
Yeah. I remember because of the 1v1 tournament.
Yep. The Not Paradox 1v1 tournament that he absolutely stomped me in.
And was he on Tyrande or Chen? I know he's a
Chen.
Bean.
Yeah.
Okay.
I forget which objectively more skilled than me player that I beat in that.
And you played
I was support Tassadar.
Right. Good times.
Irby, thank you for helping me to get to my obligatory 1-of-1 Twitch Daddy wants me to get more subscribers challenge.
What did I just hear?
I saw a thing when I was loading up OBS. It's like, hey, do you want to set a sub goal? I'm like, not really. But there's an unfulfilled checkbox on my overlay, and I can't stand for that.
That's pretty funny. Well, alrighty then. That is a phrase that was said. So.
I didn't select who selected the map. It was this team.
It was Big Push Power.
Alright, so besides banning Tracer, what is Big Push Power's key to victory here, you think?
I'm really unclear on it. Because they're taking map pick, I don't know how they fit a Tracer ban into this draft. Unless it's in mid-ban phase. So it's possible, but I'm not entirely sure what their plan is here.
They could go the alt strat of not banning either Rhaegar or Johanna.
Right, that seems like what they'll have to do. But I'm not sure where that leaves them, I guess, in terms of plan.
Where it leaves them is with a Johanna, probably.
Fair enough. I can't argue that.
And really, it's just solid logic. Rhaegar has too high of a win rate to not pick if he's available. And then Johanna is the best tank in the game. currently, so...
The best non-Rhaegar in the game.
Actually true. Except for TLV on some maps.
Fair enough. So, Draft 2, we definitely didn't miss any of Draft 1 here.
Definitely didn't miss the first half of map 1 because I was trying to stream to the wrong channel.
Oops.
I don't even think that's the first time it's happened, so I could actually sing, oops, I did it again. I won't, I'll save you that, but I could.
Yeah, just mute your mic and then it's oops, I did it again. I muted my mic, then casted a full game.
Oh, the worst part is that actually sort of fits with the right rhythm.
I know! That's what I was trying. Alright, Junkrat Band's gonna stay constant for big push power. I have gotten no less than like 30 messages during this cast, and we're only in draft game 2.
Why are you suddenly so popular, Ace?
Someone's changing jobs and letting me know, and Putin is actively invading Ukraine currently.
Oh,
so
has that escalated?
There were explosions in Kiev, so there's some news occurring.
Monka Mega.
Yeah, a little bit of a, if this is the last episode of the podcast, it's been great, everybody. Hope Nuclear Winter does y'all well.
It's been an honor casting with you. So, strange turn of events in the draft have transpired as we have the double healer band coming out from the side of Degen.M and the target Junkrat followed by standard Johanna band coming out from Big Push Power, which leaves Tracer available, which I guess isn't that weird. And both of the meta players got banned out, just not by the team you'd expect them to.
Yeah, Degen.M opting to decide we're better off without one of these two power heroes. So even though it'll cost us our ban, which, to be fair, they may or may not need as much, they're going to go ahead and get rid of it and say we're not going to have these broken tier heroes in the game, and we'll just play standard again.
They are drafting their opponent's comp from last game.
They are. It was a good comp.
They can't get the Hogger. But they've got the tank and they've got one of the damage dealers.
Yeah. Yes! Me gusta! Like any game that involves a Maiev. An automatic Z is a big fan.
I really enjoyed Envy's Anduin play as well. There was a lot of very strong looking engages coming out from Big Push Power that just got completely turned off because Envy pushed one button.
Yep. To be fair, Varian pressed 2 buttons to make it happen. And
true, but then other people start pressing buttons.
Oh, wow, crazy. That's how this game works, I think.
It is, and it's, most teams in this game are like a green-white comp where they have big stuff that helps other stuff, and then Anduin is just there with a perfectly timed counterspell to turn off everything you were trying to do.
Oh, goodness. Nubrak and Dibbles banned out, so the second wave of tank bans remains similar, albeit I think they swapped teams on it. With Tychus already picked up for Big Push Power, Degen.M would not have the good counter pick capability of it. Although Garrosh remains up, who is a quite formidable counter to the Lord of Terror.
Yep. For anyone watching wondering why Garrosh should be good on this map, it's because you can't actually throw the Shrine Monkeys. So you can just kind of walk up to heroes and have impunity with trying to just mash the E key trying to find a throw.
Yeah. Vala going to be picked up for the late game scaling power. And for the tank, is it going to be Hogger or somebody else? I'm going to assume it's going to be a traditional tank here.
I mean, Garrosh seems fine here to me.
I agree. Stitches is an interesting one. I don't know if he's...
It's because they have Anduin.
That is true. It's a good combo. But with all the Shrine Monkeys in the way, it does make a little bit of important hook timing more difficult because you have to position in a weird spot.
It's true. And, both Blaze and May have a better than average chance of surviving, and Deathwings just doesn't get hooked. I think that's actually a really nice pickup from them.
I don't know. They are really bulky.
Mm.
Big push power is, but there are two good forms of percent damage in Mayev's Fan of Knives at 16 and Manticore at 16. And if you're trying to fight either of those, like, if the game is anywhere near even when Degen.M hits 16, I just don't see how big push power can do anything. They're a very short-ranged comp, with Tychus, who has reduced basic attack range, being the longest range hero on their team. So I'm really not sure how they're going to stay alive and be able to win post 16.
By winning before 16. That's my prediction. Speaking of, would you mind throwing one of those up for me?
Yeah.
Alrighty, and while that's happening, spawning on the left-hand side in the blue trunks, winning game number 1, it is Degen.M with Yonners playing the, not Tracer, same color scheme, but the Vala. Automatic Z is on the Maiev. Envy is not currently running with Scissors on Anduin. I Just Fizzed is playing the Hog Champ, and Heckboozled throwing out the hooks on Stitches.
All right, and on the right side of the map, in the red trunks, we have H2O on Deathwing, C2D2 on the Blaze, Miniken on the May, Ragstellar on Tychus, and Sovereign on the Deckard Cain.
Having fun with the re-added back in insert and delete hotkeys, like I'm one of those old school 2012 StarCraft casters.
You got a GSL. I still like to use those in Heroes because it gives for an interesting view. But yeah, just spin around the Nexus and then hit a page up and page down, or those are what I bound zoom into.
Okay.
And then you get like the zoom in effect. Right around the Nexus.
Imagine casting a whole match with your finger constantly pressed on the delete key.
Oh, goodness. Automatic Z's in a whole bunch of trouble. Is going to get the flip over, but is going to be taken out almost immediately. And, you know, for the whole plan to win before 16 that I feel is more important, it's a good start. Not a huge one, but it is a good start.
I did have the delete key pressed until after that first kill came out. I found it very amusing, but I promise I will not do it again. Pretty good rotation advantage in favor of big push power by virtue of killing the Maiev, and it is going to let them get a pretty good clear on the bottom lane. All of these minions still alive for the side of big push power. Maiev doesn't even care, already using that Nishas to take this camp exceedingly quickly before even the entire combined team of big push power can.
Yeah, Nishas Memento does mean we're probably going to see the full Fan of Knives build, not the percent damage on Shade build, as you'll definitely want the reduced cooldown on one if you're going to go for that, so is very indicative of the build going forward.
Yeah, and on just percent damage on Fan seems really strong into the 3 frontline comp coming out for the members of Big Push Power anyway.
Yeah. See, of other talents to note, I don't see a whole lot that is super notable. So, we do have, Potion of Shielding, not anything like Ruby on this map. There is a scuffle beginning down here. Tychus in a lot of trouble, but is going to get pulled by May, but the Deathwing is absolutely roasting Heckboozled and Yonners in that choke point, and that will give the bottom camp over to Big Push Power.
Checking out the mid lane real quick. We have had both of the Bruisers trying to do as best as they can to double soak. It's a little bit harder on this map than it is on towers, but I think that especially Hogger is very well positioned to do so. Blaze a little bit slower, especially because he's putting time into taking this camp. While his contemporary is going to go take their own Bruiser camp, but gets a really interesting angle there. And C2D2 identifies it, and it looks like Big Push Power want to use their early game power to try to make something happen here.
Yep, Degen.M is able to work towards the point, though, and is going to force Big Push Power back. Nothing too committal, and because it is the top lane shrine here, it's not a big deal. This Bruiser is not nearly as important as the other two. So, yep. Big Push Power are committing to taking theirs, though, which is going to give Degen.M an ability to set up point first, as we've got the infinite spin. I I think it's headed down just a little, yeah.
Yeah.
Not quite set up by Fizz.
We did also have Blaze rotate all the way to the bottom lane so that they can get that soak in there, so a lot of opportunity for Degen.M to get into a strong position, although Maiev is rotating out to catch mid soak as well. So it is even in the top lane, but 10 Shrine Monkeys in advantage for Degen.M as Vala picks up her first tier of her level 1.
Yano's is going to go ahead, almost knocked into the root, or stun rather, is going to get knocked into the root scroll of sealing from the Deckard Cain. And H2O, very capable follow-up there. Miniken's sectioned off by the loot created by Hogger and is going to take a good chunk of damage and force out that ice block. Then Miniken goes and slides back in again, putting himself in a rather dangerous spot as he's low on health.
Yeah, we have Big Push Power doing a pretty reasonable job of forcing the members of Degen.M off the point, but they actually traded down net 5 Shrine Minions in doing so. They're starting to work back on it now, and Maiev is going to come and make this into a 5v4 and really make sure that Degen.M are going to be able to secure this first objective. As Blaze is all the way in the bot lane, Automatic Z takes a lot of damage, but is able to get pulled on out by Envy.
Yeah, Maev's going to have to be very careful as to when she times her Vault of the Wardens, because there is a lot of CC and a lot of slows even that will prevent that that Umbral Bind from going off. So really important to take care of that and use that ability really wisely.
I love having Deathwing on this map because you're always unstoppable, so you have very easy time jumping this immo. It will get the front wall, which at this level of play I feel is the expected amount of damage for a first objective, and unless a surprising kill comes out, that should really be all.
So Ektar, I bet during the development of Deathwing, they ran into a very stupid bug.
Go on.
They made him unstoppable, and then the hero's name was unstoppable for the entire game. And then they're like, yeah, we gotta fix that. And
I could see that happening.
So I totally think there's an exception in Heroes of the Storm that's like, if unstoppable and not Deathwing, then make it unstoppable.
You know, I bet you Spazzo could find that.
Oh, Spazzo. Let me know. That would be really funny.
Spazzo's not watching this. Are you kidding?
No, but somebody will clip it, put it on the NGS Discord at Spazzo, and, you know, I'm sure he's got nothing better to do than to look up my stupid game theory of Deathwing's name. So...
I have nothing to finish that out with, so we're just going to transition to
to
a different thought entirely. Level 10's getting picked up slightly earlier for the members of Degen.M. Maiev, question. You can put Deathwing in the cage, yeah? And we do see
no.
the disc.
Deathwing walks out.
The disc is what I meant.
Yes, you can disc the Deathwing, which is why it was the expected ult, is that during a fight, Deathwing will stomp all over that cage. But not that... Ooh! Time stop out onto Deckard Cain is going to isolate out the healer, but Automatic Z is taking a lot of pain for the troubles. Great ice wall here from the Mei is going to leave Degen.M in a dangerous spot with Maiev taking the first death of the fight. Yonner's channeling a lot of auto attack damage in, but there is a lot of health to chunk through here for Big Push Power.
And this is the point in the game where I think Big Push Power really do need to make that advantage I've been talking about since draft. Without the percent damage and with level 10s getting picked up, there's a lot of kill pressure, there's a lot of meat, and just a lot of overall damage for the members of Big Push Power. Yonners is doing what he can to get those stacks, which are admittedly quite important. But until they get that percent damage, how do you chunk through a Mei and a Blaze and a Deathwing?
Yeah, and especially when your main source of damage is auto attack based, as Vala is. The blinds only make that more difficult. Maiev having to play in bursts is just going to be very difficult for Degen.M for the next, 4.5 levels or so.
C2D2 going to get caught in rotation, but he actually dodges the containment disc. It's not a very long cooldown for a heroic, but it is going to be down for the next 30 seconds, giving a nice little opportunity for Big Push Power to maybe make something happen, but the objective will only be up for a few seconds before that heroic's back online.
Yeah, instead it will give them a safe and secure grab of the Bruiser camp and allow them to go ahead and clear out the top. So they'll be able to take a lane push advantage here in the top lane, assuming Degen.M doesn't take care of that before starting this objective.
Alright, objective is up. We do have Degen.M taking first spot on the objective, but really only just kind of because they could, they didn't really commit to it. They have Maya committing to clearing top, Vala is dancing around clearing mid lane, getting that XP. Both teams really looking towards 13. We did have a pretty blind hook coming out from Heckboozled, only finding a Shrine Monkey, and not a whole lot else. But this is Degen.M having a pretty big deficit in terms of the Shrine Monkeys. We do have the Containment Disc going out onto Blaze, trying to find an engagement happening, but really not finding a ton out of that, and a big fear coming out from H2O is going to put Automatic Z in a pretty rough spot.
Yeah, is in pull... Oh, no, is actually run away from the Anduin, so not in pull range as Automatic Z drops under 750 health, but is going to go ahead and escape as the Odin was getting called in, so brief reprieve in the damage. Yonner's doing a nice job of channeling auto attacks over the wall, but the Frozen Punisher is here for big push power. But importantly, level 13 is here for Heckboozled and the Stitches hook.
Yeah, he does have that baseline range increase, not finding anything particularly noteworthy. Maiev is going to get the nice jump, but doesn't have the jump available for the Blizzard combo now as he gets brought to below half health. Not really additional lockdown available. We do have him just coming out under the death.
There you
really
go.
Just for peeling. Fragstella barely avoiding that hook, and a lot of damage going on to Yonners as he gets slowed by the Sapphire, it looked like, but is still able to vault away just barely in time. As the Frozen Punisher down below 30% health, maybe one more jump, and it looks like a pretty solid defense coming up from the members of Degen.M.
Degen.M took a lot of damage through that to their heroes, but they also covered over. Ooh, nice hook from Heckboozled. Eats Mei while interrupted, or while skating out. Light Bomb and Rain of Vengeance, probably overkill, to be entirely honest. But I don't know if any of them knew that the icing was down.
Yeah, I think the hook hit just at the end of icing. Oh, big commitment coming in here from Automatic Z, but they are going to be up in heroes using the Containment Disc to lock down Deathwing so they can secure this camp. Really big stay while coming out from Sovereign is just kind of going to buy time for the rest of the team to get out. But honestly, that's a good enough use in that case.
Yeah, I think the Maiev just barely missed the auto attack and just started walking away without hitting stuff, so did not end up turning into any kills, but they do go ahead and grab the camp. Works out in their favor. As both teams now just one level off 16, almost at an identical time zone. Even game so far, with a little bit of structure advantage here for big push power, but again, I still think the scaling, you got to watch that as these levels progress.
C2D2 is just going to kind of walk out in front. Make sure that this can be a 5v5 at the worst, as we do have Hogger coming in now as well. The Containment just coming out onto Deckard is going to not find a kill, and is actually going to lead to Maev's own death. We do have the Ancient Blessings coming out, so that the additional damage coming out for the members of Big Push Power is quite substantial, as Yonners is going to be able to get away, but not with a lot going on. Hogger's going to get caught. Hook coming out from Heckboozled, but is not enough to save the Hogger as he goes down 2-0 at a pretty critical time in this game, before 16s and before the next objective comes up.
Yeah, that should let Big Push Power go ahead and either run down the top fort here, which would give them the well advantage in the top lane, or take other things around the map. They are committing to this well to the fort in the top lane, as Mei, actually the least impactful siege damager, is going to be the one who splits out for now.
We do have the Ancient Blessings coming out just for the siege damage. We had H2O in a pretty nice spot to try to stop this exact thing from happening, but C2D2 is going to get caught and pulled out anyway. The double ults coming out from the Deathwing trying to peel for the Blaze is not going to be enough. Really nice heroic coming out from Sovereign, but it's definitely still going to be C2D2 going down, and 6 teams picked up from both sides as the objective is coming up. Really going to favor Degen.M with the Death Timers on the other side.
That was a very nice job by Heckboozled running to the side, close to that lower top wall, and getting the sideways hook onto Blaze, then the Gorge, then the Anduin pull to confirm it up. And now there's an invade going on in the Bruiser camp in the top lane, and as the members of Degen.M filter in, they're going to be able to have a chance to take this, and they do, as the Ice Wall did not land on Heckboozled.
Yeah, it did buy a little bit of time, though. Deathwing is going to be up for this next objective. He's going to have at least the Bellowing Roar, if not the Cataclysm. Heck was looking for a hook, not quite finding what they were looking for, but definitely early positioning in favor of Degen.M, as the jet propulsion is going to get called out. Nice Deathwing landing does have the heroic available, but can't use it immediately. And a lot of damage, not finding anything quite yet. C2D2 is going to take a ton of damage, but the bunker build time buff is going to come into effect. Save him there. Another big stay while coming out from Sovereign is going to break this fight up a lot, but C2D2, just barely over 100 health, is staying alive.
God. Wow, great pathing through that bottom section there to stay alive. I was certain that Fizz completely outplayed him as the spin from Hogger actually blocked the jet propulsion out, which was really wild, but C2D2 still escaped after all of it.
C2D2 escaped. May had to full back, so it looks like they have completely given up on this objective. Looks like they're not even going to try to defend in the top fort. Instead, you're going to invade their opponent's siege camp, maybe pick up some of that bot XP, and just defend behind the keep wall.
Yeah, very reasonable thing to do. Get some map pressure. That top fort is all but a bait to try and defend at, and yeah, we'll have to see how the defense goes.
I love how much they're doing on the map right now, taking all 3 of the siege camps, because they have so much time until the objective actually is going to waddle up and start doing anything meaningful.
So H2O did not give vision to the camp in the bottom lane, so
it dropped.
So they healed the whole time while he was breathing fire on him, so that won't go, but still 2 lanes of pressure out here, and now a big defense here on this top keep is coming out.
Yeah, and they still have H2O to make sure they can jump the immos. A little bit less meaningful at this phase in the game, especially as far as it was on the keep already, and the H Blessings coming out going to help just clear that a little bit faster as H2O throws that booty up into the air, and Fizz is going to find an extremely lucky camp, I think.
Yeah. However, it does seem like Big Push Power might be rotating down in that general direction. C2D2 does a blind sidestep of that hook and does a nice job there. Then Jet Propulsion's onto the point. This is where the scuffle is going to be. As a full 5v5 here, Maev's going to go ahead and port directly into the slow. Stitches is going to get the eat onto Decker Kane and get out of it, or get away with it due to the Anduin pull. Envy doing a great job with these Stitches combos to make sure that Stitches can abduct the target as needed.
They do pick up the camp, but the Casper question remains, at what cost? Automatic Z not having that double vault yet is going to take a ton of damage, but Envy with the double pull is going to get him on out of there. Deathwing using the nice bellowing roar for healing. Yeah, on the whole, though, losing 1 hero for a camp at this phase of the game, definitely not worth, as the level 20s are inbound for Degen.M and picking up not Farflight Quiver, going in for the triple vault instead.
Wow.
As the only person I know who plays Vala regularly, can you explain that one to me?
No. Full stop. I do not understand that talent choice. Is it next to it? It is next to Farflight Quiver. Maybe it's a misclick. Like, I just don't see why you would take extra vault. Oh, it's for Death Dealer. So you vault, auto, vault, auto, vault, auto. Okay. And that does 15% bonus damage per stack of hatred, so you get 150% auto attack damage.
So really just going in on the extra damage over the safe poke of Farflight.
Correct. It is a very burst-oriented talent for both Q and auto builds.
Okay, I knew the auto attack build goes into the Death Dealer, but I did not put 2 and 2 together as to making it more valuable of a pick than Farflight as auto attack build.
I would still say Farflight is unreasonably incredible at poking, but you know, I'm not going to question that too much because it is pretty good.
Level 20s are picked up for both sides, and both sides have all keeps remaining. And it looks like we have C2D2 going to go ahead and snipe out this top fort, maybe? I would love to see him just snipe out that top fort, honestly.
There seems to be a little bit of awareness here from Degen.M, as I think they were going to rotate up for the camp, and instead they're going to rotate up and find a Blaze. Automatic Z going to prevent that escape. And, yeah, not even a bunker is going to do enough as Stitches grabs a hook. And, yeah, a fort for a hero at level 20 is not exactly the trade you want to be making.
Yeah, I liked it. I would have liked to have seen him just, like, throw the oil, set it on fire, and leave ASAP. That may still be wrong, because I love a good fort snipe at any phase of the game. But
yes,
hubris, a little bit of hubris there, staying to try to take the minion wave as well.
Yeah.
So that is going to be objective going over in favor of Degen.M, and even allows the Hogger to go and take their camp. Stitch is looking for just a little cheeky hook. Isn't going to find anything, but doesn't cost him anything in the attempt.
Yeah, no, really, it only takes a cooldown to make it happen. Looking at 20s for big push power, we do have Respect the Elderly, which is a very, very impactful level 20 upgrade. We've got the extra bunker, so it increases armor to 50, so they can use that more, which is very funny to use in combination with the big red button Odin to shove an entire Odin inside a bunker.
I'm a little surprised if that's allowed, to be honest.
I think it is. And then we got Shatter and Stood in the Fire, which is a very potent upgrade to Cataclysm.
I had to check Gorge for wording real quick, because it used to say something about massive heroes, which I think meant heroic vehicles, but Gorge actually still doesn't mention heroic vehicles, which I find a little bit surprising. H2O is going to drop the Stood in the Fire for the extra damage. A big Ice Wall combo coming out from Mei. Yonner's taking a ton of damage. It is going to have to back up for the time being. Miniken taking a lot of damage and getting the heal cut from the hook. Frozen Punisher is turning off this keep, so it's a pretty even fight. No major advantage for big push power fighting under their own keep, and it is going to get stunned out once again. Miniken is very low, does not have the cryo freeze to keep him alive after death, and Sovereign is going to get eaten, pulled into a bad spot as well. Is staying alive very decently, is going to get pulled back in unto death, as well as the Deathwing going out, and I don't think that C2D2 and Fragastella can make this core defense, but I would love to be proven wrong, because Game 3 is our best games.
They are indeed, at least for our casting career, but gonna take nothing short of multiple miracles now that Blaze goes down. Tychus, the only one remaining here on this core stand, and yeah, I just don't see any way Tychus can pull it off, so that will be Game 2 and this series going over to Degen.M.
Ooh, flexing that KDA just a little bit, getting that final kill out of Tychus, and that is, as you said, 2-0 for Degen.M.
Yeah, definitely level 20 fights. Hard to take for both sides, but yeah, I think the important one was that kill on Mei. Obviously, the first kill, very important, but as mentioned, not having the cryo freeze, but rather the shatter. The ice wall was very good and forced a bunch of damage onto both Heckboozled and to Yonners, but the double pull from Anduin really saved that fight, and I think Envy did a fantastic job. Every single trait used either led to a kill with the aggressive pull on Stitches on a Gorge target, or to saving a hero.
But just think how much better Envy would be if he were running with Scissors.
That would be pretty good. So, oh, seems pretty good.
Hopefully prediction doesn't spoil the end of the game. I think I got it late enough.
Yeah, it is in fact. Any points awarded? None. Nobody wants heals. Okay. Well, when you play with Ektar, don't ask for heals.
Ace, are you friends with Yonners?
Sure not.
Yeah, me either. And they are not currently accepting whispers from people who are not on their friends list. Z
well,
coming for interview if you doing one. Alright. Thank you.
Alright. Lobby 2 it is.
Hello.
Welcome, and congratulations on your 2-0 victory.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that. Good team too, so definitely felt good. Am I early? Sorry.
No, sorry.
All good.
I'm a little out of practice at the post-game interview. I haven't done one yet this season.
Oh no worries.
Yeah, so you're my first of the season.
Oh my.
Popping cherries. It's all good.
Let's see. Banned out Braxis and Cursed Hollow. I can't blame you for that. Those maps suck.
Yeah, we did a little bit of scouting and we noticed that they played pretty well on both those. We're just like, let's just get rid of them. So we did.
All right.
And
so
it's that simple.
Yeah.
Sometimes it really is.
Yeah. Well, they beat a fairly strong team in the division, Rook Gaming. So we thought if they can win with those maps, then we should probably get rid of it.
That's fair. Speaking of winning against perceived odds, picking Tracer into Varian Brightwing seems like a losing combination, but you made it work anyway. What do you attribute your key to success in game number 1 on there?
Well, I'd say we had really good rotations, and the early kill kind of led into a snowball. But what we kind of spoke about before the game even started was we have to be mindful of Tracer's positioning because they're going to look to taunt, especially with the poly. But we had some really good roams and really good rotations from our offlaner and kind of just snowballed early, which really helped. We got a lot of tower shots off just from stalling too, even though we lost a couple of the early fights. But just pressuring Varian pre-4 is kind of the goal there.
You got to kill at the 26-second mark, like the first minion wave scuffle, and you just I forget who it was, Dahaka maybe.
I believe it was the Dahaka, and then he had a dig top, so it kind of didn't allow them to snowball at 1 minute with them invading our camp or counter invading, right?
Yeah.
If we with Dahaka.
Yeah, and I gotta say, as much as I'm loath to stroke Yonner's ego, he's doing a very good job of playing around the taunt cooldown. Anytime taunt went onto someone who wasn't him, it's like, oh, cool, time to exist in their backline now, because what are they going to do about it?
Yeah, that's kind of what we were communicating, is if the taunt was going out, we were kind of yelling it, not yelling, but we were sharing that communication in comms, because then it just opened up the door. We weren't really watching Poly, though, but anywho.
Also, super big shoutouts to your healer player, Envy, on the Anduin in both games. Every time it looked like Big Push Power was going to start to make something happen, Anduin would just say, nah.
Yeah, Envy's pretty solid. He's definitely very quiet, but he gets the job done. When he says whatever he's saying is generally, very important, whether it's his cooldowns or, So when he's talking, you got to listen.
All right. Ace, you got anything for game number 1? I felt like that was the more expected of the two games. So
it was fairly straightforward. I mean,
that's straightforward. That's what I meant.
No, I just thought y'all played well, had some good combos during the team fights, and just kind of outmuscled Big Push Power there. So yeah, nice job.
Yeah, thanks.
So going into the game number 2, your opponents ended up going with the triple front line into y'all. How does that comp work into what you guys drafted?
Well, they did kind of go pretty thick on their team, but what we kind of identified early was their camp clear was pretty lackluster. So eventually, if we just got enough pressure from the map and our camps out first, they're still working on theirs with just a Tychus and a May, right, and a Deathwing. That's kind of what we identified. And then from there, it was just trying to get catches where we could, and then going with Stitches to try and set up those kills that we got as well. Because once one person's on the map, then we can just easily push the advantage of 5v4.
Yeah, I definitely noticed the first part that you mentioned especially. Anytime there was the expected 4v4 on an objective, it was Maiev and Blaze who were out, and Maiev was clearing lanes quite a bit faster, and therefore showing up, making it a 5 versus 4 in your team's favor a little bit more often than was happening for Big Push Power.
Yeah, I think if they would have went with maybe a Thrall, that would have helped out, but their clear was pretty lacking. That'd probably be the only thing I'd suggest on their side, but it was still, they ran it very well. They did get kills on us, and they got kills on me, so I gotta kind of tweak my Maiev gameplay.
It's true. Maiev is one of those heroes that, to a lesser extent than Samuro, to be fair, it just isn't really supposed to die. Like, you've got so many buttons that make it so you don't die, that when it does happen, you feel like you did something wrong.
Yes, definitely. That's how it felt.
Yes, as someone who plays that, and as well as that also exists in a very similar way for Tracer as well, that if you die, it's because of something you did, because you have enough save buttons. Like, I think, I'm not sure if it was the only time Yanners died, but when he tried to commit to the kill, ended up living because the, shoot, what's the talent on one?
Oh, the bombs,
Not-
right? I'm
Yeah.
guessing the bombs. Yeah.
Yeah, so Parting Gift.
Parting Gift.
Yes.
Thank you, Parting. Yeah, one of those didn't connect, and then so he had to recall out, and yeah, it caused a whole problem. So, yeah, both those heroes definitely, when you die, you know it's because you messed up, whether you mistimed the jump to escape the roots or whatnot, and yeah, tough hero to stay alive on sometimes, especially into such a CC heavy comp that they had.
Yeah, it was rough, and I know Minikin plays it too, so I think he was kind of calling out my cooldowns, because every time I didn't have them, I died, and I died almost 4 times, but I had 3 times that game. So
3 times in an Anduin save.
yes.
Props to Minikin. That was the most times I've ever seen a Maiev get stunned by Blizzard.
Yes, big facts.
Like, that just seems to never happen. You've always got an E or a D, but if you're caught without either, I mean, she doesn't have anything else after that.
Yeah, 20 was definitely very helpful. two of them, 2 sets.
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely a well-appreciated upgrade for her on 20.
So
yes.
I have passing familiarity with a bunch of the players on your team, but I'm not familiar with the team as a whole. Where does Degen.M come from?
So Degen.M, I'd say the original 2 or even 3 would be Yanners and I Just Fizz, coming from Gen.M from Nexus, winning Nexus, and then I came from PRX as a ranged carry, kind of flex. MV kind of filled in. I believe he was a buddy of Fizz's, and Heckboozled, he actually didn't play NGS for about since 2019, I believe he said. So we're kind of like a scrap together team, but we
I think Heckboozled was on Regen or something, one of the Regen teams for a while. Oh gosh, because I've definitely recognized the name, but wasn't sure. I'm gonna try and search that up on the website real quick.
I'm sure if he's listening, he could throw you a line.
Yeah, that
I know he knows.
Yeah, true.
All right, so looking ahead, your next matchup is against Dragon Strike. Have you been preparing for them? Anything not too spoilery you wanna give away about what might happen in that match?
Well, I haven't. I kind of focus on the game in front of me. So, given who I know is coming down the line, we do some scouting, but I haven't really looked into them. Not too hard, I guess. Just I kind of know some of the players.
Okay, so nothing spicy.
No spoilers. But I don't have anything. If I had something, I'd tell you. But
I feel compelled to ask, but at the same time, I will never hold it against a team for not telling me what their plans are for their future matches.
Oh, no, that's fine. I don't... Like I said, once we get to that point, I'll definitely do some studying.
Alrighty, I think that is all I've got for the interview. Ace, you got anything?
I do not. We have covered all of it.
All right. Well, congratulations once again, Z, on your 2-0 victory, and good luck in your future games.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for casting, guys. This is our first cast for the besides the rebroadcast, so appreciate it, definitely.
Yeah, and
live and in person.
Don't worry about the first couple of minutes, all the way through halfway through the first draft, where I hadn't updated my stream key and I was trying to stream to the NGS. Twitch. So don't worry about that.
I'll give the stream a rewatch for sure.
Yeah. The VOD off the NGS channel's already scrubbed clean. Never happened. No evidence.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like Hex said something in chat there too about where he originally came from.
Oh, did he? I missed that.
BBW.
What up?
Yeah.
BBW. Which one is that?
That is just the team name in
I-
Season 7. I feel like
Oh,
I
is it?
remember you from like playing with Jason and that group, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Might be someone else, but I feel like that's the group I remember you from. But nonetheless, welcome back to NGS.
Yeah. It's a good time to be here, and I'm totally not biased.
Not at all.
All right, well, thank you for coming by, Z, and
Yeah.
again, good luck in your future series.
Yeah, appreciate it. Hopefully we can get you guys to cast us again. It was fun.
Honestly, if you can convince your healer player Envy to throw Divine Star at the wall before the game starts, and he starts running around with his sword out for the whole game, I'll be more likely to cast your games in the future. That's not even a front.
I'll let him know. I will definitely let him know.
All right.
Critical Ando in tech.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Well, that was fun.
It was.
Other than the first cast of the season technical issues.
Whoops.
Happens to the best of us, and because it happens to the best, it happens to me way more. Alright. Is there a cast going on?
Benkai.
It is the only one. It looks like it is about to end.
But it might not. They are
It
backing
might
off,
not,
of course.
So hopefully we can get you all on over there before the game ends, as it is currently up 1-0. Cats on my keyboard versus Knights that go Borks. We've got a real cats versus dog fight going on there. And I have not even started the raid button. I don't know what the icon looks like. There we go.
I can't. I don't have permission to raid in your channel.
Do you not? I thought mine
really
had
don't.
that.
You have to do editor or something for that.
Oh, dang. Bankai Here's the Storm. We're going to start the raid and is going to get on and out of here as soon as I see the end screen pop up. So have a good night, everyone, and we will see you for the next cast.
Bye.